in an ecosystem, but scientists say vulture populations are in peril. The victims of poisoning of carcasses by cattle herders, a sign of escalating conflict between humans and wildlife.
It's a scene safari lovers in Kenya treasure encountering. A swarm of vultures scavenging a lion's carcass, the birds playing their evolutionary role in an ecosystem as finely tuned as an orchestra. But scientists say vulture populations are in peril, the victims of poisoning of carcasses by cattle herders, a sign of escalating conflict between humans and wildlife.
Well, the biggest threat to vultures is poisoning, and that is generally not targeted at the vultures, it's actually targeted at carnivores, mostly lions, hyenas, leopards as well, because the carnivores are actually occasionally killing livestock.
In central Kenya, a wildlife conservation group is trying to dissuade herders from poisoning cattle carcasses to target predators, because vultures end up being harmed and not the marauding carnivores. Poisoning is one of the chief causes of death for Kenyan vultures. 4 of the East Africa's nation's 8 vulture species are critically endangered. Scientist Darcy Ogada of the Peregrine Fund Conservation Group says the hooded vulture has seen its population plunge by nearly 90% over the past 45 years.
A vulture is a very long-lived bird. They can live over 20 years. So part of that adaptation means that they start to breed when they're much older, after 5 years old. And after they reach 5 years, they'll breed very slowly. So they'll have 1 egg, meaning 1 chick at most, every year or every other year.
4 of the 8 vulture species in Kenya are critically endangered. Conservationists are trying to tackle the scourge of wildlife poisoning in and around the wildlife conservancies of Kenya's Laikipia and Samburu regions, which are home to globally significant populations of lion, black rhino, elephant, and gravy zebra. Ogada says those populations are also threatened by the vulture decline. The Peregrine Fund is training pastoral communities whose livelihoods depend on the cattle about the dangers of poisoning lion carcasses in retaliation for the predators killing their cows.
With this heightened vigilance, we stand a better chance to conserve, because then we act on what is reported, and that we also know someone is looking at what's happening.
But educating people on the dangers of disrupting the ecosystem is only a part of the training.
Our part teaches on responding on these incidents, but we also have a solution. We offer a kind of a simple solution to this, whereby very cheaply we also train communities to build predator-proof shelters for their livestock.
The group does not pay for the construction materials to build the shelters, known locally as bombers, but their training in the area since 2018 has resulted in herder communities building more than 350 of them.
Meanwhile, Kenyans have